There's surprisingly a lot of horror movies that take place during Christmas.
Most of them tend to be campy, but the true magnum opus of Christmas horror movies, Black Christmas, 1974, is anything but.
However, Black Christmas isn't just a simple Christmas-themed horror movie. It is so much more than that.
Should we watch it? Nah. There's some stuff preventing me from saying that we should definitely watch this in class, but I'll explain why.
First off, though, what is Black Christmas? Well, it's a 1974 Canadian film originally released under the title Silent Night, Evil Night, but that doesn't really have the same ring to it, now does it? It was directed by Bob Clark, who would later go on to direct another popular Christmas movie called A Christmas Story. Very different in tone, don't you think?
It was also written by Roy Moore, starring actors such as Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, and John Saxon. It would also later get 2 remakes, one in 2006 and one in 2019.
The movie is about a group of sorority sisters who are receiving creepy and perverted phone calls from a mysterious voice during Christmas break. However, the owner of the voice doesn't just want to scare them, he wants to harm them as well. And unfortunately for the girls, he does a pretty good job with that. Also, he's actually in the house the entire time, and only the audience knows this.
So, why do I think this movie is really great, even if I'm uncertain we should watch it? Well, reason number 1, it's important to the slasher genre. Okay, as mentioned, Black Christmas came out in 1974, along with another famous slasher, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Though they don't have much in common with each other other than being a slasher, they're still both incredibly important to the slasher horror subgenre. There's quite a few tropes that we've seen multiple times that actually originated from this movie, such as the spooky caller, holiday-themed horror, and the killer point of view shot. Many movies, such as When a Stranger Calls, Halloween, and Scream, took inspiration from these tropes, the most notable being Halloween's iconic opening point of view shot from young Michael Myers. The movie also subverts one or two tropes that weren't even really well known at the time, mostly when it came to the final girl, but I won't get into that due to possible spoilers. Reason number 2, messages and themes. The main themes of Black Christmas are about the feminist changes in society and the dangers of negative reactions towards them. It's considered to be one of the earliest overtly feminist and progressive horror movies. The sorority sisters drink, are sexually active, and aren't afraid to speak their mind. Some of the men in the movie judge them, or are outright violent towards them. Mostly the killer, whose true motivations remain a mystery throughout the duration of the film. Another really important topic this movie addresses is women's reproductive rights. Roe vs. Wade actually happened a year before this, so it was still in the back of everyone's minds. The topic of abortion is handled very well in this movie, mostly because the decision by a certain character doesn't define them and they speak about it in a mature manner. It's not a soap opera, it's a decision. Also, there's a greater concern in the movie being a killer on the loose. Reason number 3. It's scary. Okay, I know it's kind of a lame reason, but hear me out. This is one of the horror movies that have personally scared me the most. I genuinely believe that this is one of the scariest endings to any horror movie, both within the context of the movie and also of how realistic this situation can be. The movie was inspired by a popular urban legend called The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs, in which a stranger repeatedly calls and harasses a babysitter until the police trace the calls to find out that he's in the house. It's not just me who's scared by this movie either. I think this comment from Reddit user Midnight Island 212 from r/horror says it best. Just watched this film for the first time last night. It is a slow burn a little, but by the end of it, it left me feeling incredibly unsettled. It had me checking each room before going to sleep. One of the bleakest slashers that made it feel like such an eerie experience. On the fuss scale, I'd probably give it a 9. Obviously, this movie is rated R, so here's a quick disclaimer. There's sexual references, very crude language, mostly used by the antagonist, drinking and intoxication, some mention of assault never shown on screen, I promise, and obviously violence. There's a plot point where a teen girl does go missing, and I will spoil this, they do find her body, but it is not shown on screen. It's a very heavy and dark film, but there isn't much violence that's actually seen. For more information, I highly recommend looking at IMDb's Parents Guide, but obviously avoid spoilers. Overall, I think this movie is still incredibly important, even if we don't end up watching this in class, because 1, it's genuinely scary, 2, it has some themes that would be interesting to discuss, and 3, it served as an inspiration for one of the most important horror films, period, which also in turn inspired many other horror movies in the future and set the groundwork for many horror tropes. Thank you for watching.